Hello, my name is Łukasz Łukowski, and I'm representing STORDIS. Together with me, there are my two colleagues from Pluribus Network. I really are grateful to all of you for joining our today webinar. Everything what we will, let's say, present, including the demo, will be under the live session. So also to ask any question. Maybe before we will go to our guest speakers and the agenda, please have in mind that on the right corner, there are some handouts. So every time you will be able to go there, download some interesting brochures and other materials. So, gentlemen, Andreas, Manuel, really thank you for joining us. I was going over the briefly introduction. So once again, my name is Łukasz Łukowski. I am the Chief Sales and Marketing Officer at STORDIS. As a STORDIS, we are one of the solution provider under the OCP and one of the PAN distributors in the EMEA region, specializing in the open networking. Gentlemen, the voice with you, maybe starting from Andreas.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having us. Thanks for inviting us, Lucas. It's always a pleasure to be with you at STORDIS. My name is Andy Faulkner, based out of Munich, Germany, and I'm here to give you a short presentation, solution setup. What are the benefits and what exactly is Pluribus Networks doing? With me today, I've got Manuel. Manuel out of Spain. Hand it over to you, Manuel.
Hi everyone, thank you Lucas. My name is Manuel Guerrero and I'm part of the Pluribus sales team for the EMEA region.
Thank you guys, thank you gentlemen, once again, welcome. So agenda today, we have like maybe just 4 points, but some of them are definitely very exciting. So starting from our all the portfolio with different services, I would like to bring you over that very quickly. And then the stand will be with my friends from the Pluribus. So we will be able to listen about the innovation solution of the cloud era. And we will go even 2 times over some demo of the introduction of the software-defined active data center architecture with the Pluribus. So a few words about STORDIS itself. So we've been founded in 2007, as some of you could notice based on our company name, STORDIS. On the beginning, we've been focusing more on the storage, like high-performance computing interconnection technology. And basically, that was going over a couple of years. A very important year in our history, it is 2012, where we've been the first who was introducing the open networking in the European region. We signed over that time a first few contracts with the Taiwanese ODMs, like an EdgeCore Networks, with some software partners. And we've been very active on that open networking field. This is basically today our only focus. So. And over the years and the time, we've been adding some missing gaps, like, for example, academia and research program, SDN trainings, tested or compatible optics cables, options with a different level of the labs, mobile or remote. Adding also some missing features and services. I will maybe show you that later on. And coming to the 2021, we are basically almost closing it. The time flies very fast. I believe that the most interesting and the biggest achievement which we have for this year, it is the partnership with Pluribus Networks, because that is really a game changer. And we would like to share with you more about the solution soon. So we are saying that we live our vision. We always believe that the partnership is the most important. I strongly believe that the business is not between the companies, but between the people. And this is basically how we are structuring our group, STORDIS Group. You will find a lot of, let's say, different services which we've been developing in that market. So if you are coming from the networking, if you've been dealing with a traditional vendors, we know there is a few of them. The open networking was bringing some kind of like a headache, unfortunately, in the way that we have to again have to aggregate that disaggregation. What I have in mind, I will share with you a little bit over a few next slides. So we created a solution center and academy. This is how it is looking. So I didn't mention, but the STORDIS, our headquarters is located in Germany. We have also an office in UK, and we are opening a new one in Poland, where I base. So this is what you can see, what we are able to support from our UK side. So we have a really nice solution center with a special proof of concept labs, with the anti-statistic stations, and so on and so forth. If you are nearby, please feel free to visit us. We will be really delighted. One of those mentioned gaps, which maybe sounds strange, but this was really a stopping point, was missing SLA for the hardware, like next business day, advanced replacement, or even in some under some requirements, 4-hour reaction times, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, in the open networking world, most of the time that was a stopping point. So we as a STORDIS, we've been trying to fill in those gaps. And if someone is looking for enterprise grade SLA level, you can just reach out to us, and all of that is simply available under those few different packages called Open to Support, Smart Advances, or a Premium one. Another point, or let's say like a gap or a program which we were running, it is a program called Back to Open. So maybe some of you already hear what happened with the Cumulus networks. They've been acquired. And unfortunately, there is no any longer support on the Broadcom-based ASIC from the latest Cumulus 4.0 revision. But to do not abandon our partners who've been choosing networking or open networking, we have that program where we are able to help you go back. Once when you are with the open networking, once when you are with the bare metal hardware, you know that you can change the software, same as you can mix the hardware. So also feel free, if you are one of the Cumulus users today, we will find a good migration plan, maybe also to the Pluribus, which would be really great. I mentioned about that also in the beginning, academia and research programs. So to make that short, for all the academia and universities, we have a special program which not only is provide you some benefits from the commercial perspective, but also is providing you an access to the latest disaggregation, open networking technology, also including our labs, mobile labs, or the remote labs. If you are interested, please just, go on our website, or if you are coming from the academia, just subscribe yourself. After approval, you will receive all set of the details, documents, what we can do together there. And speaking about the partners and the people, we really believe in the local cooperation. As a PAN distributors, we cannot, let's say, fulfill all the opportunities, and we will be not able to provide all those services which I was mentioned without our partners. So for those partners, we have like a special partner program with a couple of membership level, which is bringing you some benefits. So if you are maybe a system integrators, if you are a reseller, if you are interested in the open networking, you would like to partner with us, again, please feel free to reach out to us. There are really some good packages and benefits, and everything I believe is very, very clear. And in the end of the day, this is a win-win. So if you used to go over similar programs with maybe some vendors, it could be some surprise for you that we as a distributor, as a local partners, we are also able to provide that exactly the same from our end. So maybe like one to mention, of the benefits. So even that entry-level Alliance member, if you will go with that kind of the partnership, we will train you, we will help you to go up to the speed. Every bare metal hardware you will support you will receive with an upgraded warranty of the first years to the next business day, and so on and so forth. But where we can help on top, services.
Oh, we lost Lucas. Yeah, this is welcome to the era of cloud networking, everyone. I think I have to step in here, but actually it's a good handover because actually that was Lucas' last slide. And Manuel, why not? I think we take over Pluribus now, shall we? So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining in. Yeah, unfortunately, our host has some connectivity issues, but it's good time for me to give you an introduction and talk about the topic and the similarities between Pluribus and STORDIS. The partnership, as Lucas described, with STORDIS has just commenced in the previous quarters, and that is a bit of a surprise because at the end of the day, both companies embrace and live the same DNA, which is open networking. We, as Pluribus, we are delivering the software part to that disaggregated model, which Lucas has described. So for us as a company, it is utterly important to deliver and innovate on providing the extensive solutions running on bare metal switches. And this is what I would like to present you today. And together with my colleague Manuel, we would like to demonstrate to you again as well how good our performance is and basically what are the benefits of Pluribus Networks. We are a solution provider in the data center area. All dedicated to automation, all dedicated to data center and metro solutions. And for us, our vision is we want to make the networking go much simpler, be much easier. Now, a short introduction of Pluribus Networks. And again, a bit of a similarity here between STORDIS and us. We are out there already for 11 years, like 10 years, founded in 2010. And it's been in the around 2014, 2015, just when open networking did come up, we were one of the first players from a software side to enter the open networking community ecosystem. Our solution is all based around software-defined networking and network virtualization. And the partners we have, and the most important partners actually are listed in my strategic partnerships on the top here. We've been basically supporting Ericsson in their 3G, 4G, and now Telco Cloud 5G deployments over the last decade. So we've got a very mature and a very sound customer base world where packet core and high load mobile traffic is needed. Our solutions, and here's a bit like where our partnership got boosted, is we're all targeted around Broadcom architectures. So you'll see we support EdgeCore. Lucas has mentioned it before. We support Dell EMC, and for us, it is more important to kind of have this Dell EMC and EdgeCore run on Broadcom architectures because that is where our strategic partnership is in. Having said that, our software integrates super well with the latest innovations from Broadcom. That is where we need that technology to kind of that technology partner to be live again. Our customer base is all targeted around service provider, telcos, big enterprises. So for us, it's obviously important to kind of demonstrate to you that our solution is super mature, and we've been developing high-speed, innovative solutions with a carrier grade and telco grade. Pluribus in a nutshell. This is who we are. This is where we come from. So what are we doing? Our solution is all around based the data center solutions, and we'll call our product a unified network for the distributed cloud. It's got like two components in it. First of all, a Pluribus Unum. We'll take a lot of switches, we'll take a lot of a high-scale network, and we'll integrate it into one. For us, a network is a fabric is a single entity. It consists of multiple switches, but you kind of have to differentiate. We're not looking at a box-by-box configuration. For us, the entity of a network, of a cloud, is the matter of orchestration. And the second topic is all around distributed. Because for us, a data center, and this is what most of our customers have shown us, is not a single site environment. Customers will always have multiple data centers, backup data centers, integration into cloud providers, local cloud providers, most likely more cloud providers, private, public. So they are serving multiple use cases, from the IoT, 5G, classical use cases as well. So it's kind of that distributed architecture in a multi-site approach for cloud services, and the main request is always around SDN in a virtualized physical environment. And on top, there's like the little icing on the cake is where we'll provide you with a deep insight of analytics, making sure that we've got a true visibility going on. Yeah, what do you get from Pluribus? Pluribus is we are, as I said, a software provider. So our product is called Netvisor ONE. Networking operating system consists of running on a standard ONE switch, ONE being kind of that open networking indicator on Broadcom architectures. We've got a super nice roadmap going on. You'll see it on the lower end side. We are developing our operating system to run on SmartNICs. Now this presentation is less on SmartNICs because that is something we're gonna launch in Q1 next year. But the idea, as you can see, we're moving the network from the core to the edge, and we're gonna give it software-defined notions, where we're basically giving you the SDN approach in a distributed manner. I was just looking at Boris' question. How do we differ from Big Switch? Boris, give me 2 minutes. I've got a slide which is gonna show it. So Netvisor ONE, our operating system, and we have our network management and insight analytics tool called Unum. Unum basically gives you the automation portal, gives you the look and feel, the GUI look and feel to manage extensive environments. And we've got this elastic database capability of running real-time network analytics going along. So absolutely, we are able to kind of run our switches from different angles. Now, our goal is we want to make networking much simpler, simplifying the networking, taking out the complexity. This is what SDN is about. And the way we're going to do it is relying on open networking. And here, Boris, the first statement actually I'd like to take to you is, where are we different? We have an approach where we deliver a full-fledged SDN fabric, but we do not need a controller. And the benefits I'll show you in a minute. So our technology is based on a controllerless SDN solution with a pervasive automation. So there's a lot of automation capabilities already built in. And that, by the way, differs us from Cumulus, which was mentioned by Lucas before, because we've got a lot of these automation capabilities already built in. As I said, for us, a fabric, a network does not consider, or we don't care whether it's like a 416, 256 node fabric. For us, the entity is the orchestration focus, and you'll just hook to the fabric, high resilient, high available, and you'll make sure that the fabric operates. Then we obviously have a strong spin on network segmentation, on security. This is what we've inherited through our Ericsson Mobile Core Telco Cloud environment. Slicing. We separate data control and management plane. So we've got a perfect fit with multi-tenancy for use cases like IoT or multi-tenant data centers. And we're providing this pervasive visibility. Every port within a Pluribus networking switch, a switch where our Netvisor operating system runs on, de facto is a probe port. And we are able to, in real time, gather all the traffic. The use cases we're basically, we're focusing on is the classic cloud hosting, Metro Ethernet, and video segmentation, video aggregation, Telco Cloud NFVI, the 5G Ericsson case, and we've got some super nice use cases along. We've got layer 1 capabilities as well in our fabric. Virtual link extensions. We can emulate a layer 1 link, and that basically paves the way for network packet brokering, combining layer 1 with filter capabilities. And the second one is our lab automation cross connect. Now you see another similarity here with Big Switch. Big Switch monitoring fabric, our packet brokering, we're on the same stream here. And I'm going to show you in a minute how that is going to be done. So here are like the differentiators of Pluribus, and how do we differentiate? And where are we similar? We are leveraging the power of open networking, a super feature-rich networking operating system, very super containerized. We're going to support Kubernetes going forward. Is running on a Debian Linux, and hey, this is again a similarity, for example, to Cumulus. Our operating system is Linux-based and it's open. If somebody wants to access the shell, not a problem. We've got our operating system, our CLI running on top of it. But especially for the DevOps community, Pluribus is a solid player, and we've got a lot of customers who are actually choosing us right now only because of that Linux shell. So the power of open networking gives you, and Łukasz mentioned it, a price competitiveness, but it also gives you that flexibility and that protection, because you can buy an edge core switch and run multiple operating systems on the same switch. And this is where the DNA of STORDIS and the DNA of Pluribus go aligned, because that's exactly what we want. We do not want to lock in our customers. Now, addressing the question around where are we different from controller-based solutions, aka Big Switch, aka Cisco ACI. We have the capabilities of running the architecture without a dedicated controller, which means we do have a controller running on the switch in the network, but the controller is distributed amongst all the devices, all the switches in the network. So per se, we don't have a high availability issue because we're just sharing the controller functionality within the nodes within the switches. What we're able to do is we run in a true hybrid open third-party architecture. A classic SDN player requests a controller, and basically the networking operating system and the switches have to come from the same vendor. With us, it is different. Spine switches could come from a different vendor. We could use Cisco, Arista, Dell. We could use we could use Sonic in there, and another open networking kind of operating system to run as a spine switch. Our intelligence is in the leaf. Our intelligence building a fabric is in the leaf. That's the second biggest advantage here. And then the third biggest advantage, obviously, is what we're seeing. We do not have the geographic boundaries which controller-based solutions do have. As we're splitting the controller over multiple switches, as we are able to interconnect multiple data centers, being regionalized and being spread over countries or even continents, we do not need a controller or a sprawl of controllers interconnecting all of these end nodes. Again, the reason being is our controller resides within the switch. Our controller is part of the fabric, and that intelligence and that automation capabilities we're able to deliver. No controller. One of the big differences to Big Switch, Juniper Contrail, Cisco ACI, some of the players in the market, and we are super open. The whole debate and the whole philosophy of open networking is around openness, and we don't want to lock in our customers. We're using open switches, and we'll tell you, hey, if you want to use SDN, hey, feel free to use your existing switches in the spine, or even in parts of the networks where they can coexist. But you can have workloads with SDN and without SDN going in the same direction. I hope I answered one of these questions. There's a question around EVPN. Actually, I can address that one in a minute as well. Now, most important is We are not tied into a single vendor, single Pluribus proprietary solution. We are interoperable with brownfield environments. So we do work with any spine leaf. We can interconnect with any access switches, Wi-Fi switches, Wi-Fi enabled switches, PoE switches for the campus. Our intelligence, spanning multiple data centers, is basically capable of interconnecting via existing other vendors' hardware. And most important, well, the most common topology right now is a spine leaf architecture. But what we do support as Pluribus is, again, we're not kind of fixed on spine leaf. We've got mesh, we've got big metro ring features, functionalities running. So for us, kind of the base of all of our fabric building is IP connectivity between the leaf nodes. And this is obviously which makes it very flexible, and where we are able to kind of turn ourselves into a common solution within a existing environment. There is no rip and replace of existing hardware, and you can enable SDN within a migration path. So you don't have to kind of rip and replace everything and say, hey, I've got my traditional 3-tier approach and I need to replace it. Absolutely not. With Pluribus Networks, you're able to kind of enhance on it and make sure that you're able to have a sound journey into SDN and into open networking. The main challenges we'll see today is that data centers are growing. Data centers and workloads are being sprawled over multiple data centers. I mentioned it, the whole cloud idea, local clouds, private clouds, resilient data centers. You will have, most likely, will find environments where dual or multiple vendor strategies running. You will have multiple switches from different vendors running in different data centers. But we all have the same issue: is how do we interconnect these pods? I just got a kind of a hint is, hey, how about EVPN? Absolutely, we support EVPN for a third-party integration, so that is given. On the other end, we have our own capabilities within Pluribus, and there are 2 modes you can run Pluribus in. First is the pod or multi-site interconnect. Basically, you've got a data center running, one in Hamburg, one in Munich, and from an operations perspective, the 2 data centers running Pluribus technology, running a Pluribus fabric, would look like a single entity, like a single site. So the operations team will not see any difference how the networks are being physically connected. And even from a workload and a workload mobility perspective, it doesn't even matter. You'll move your virtual workloads left and forward. It doesn't matter. So that is kind of the easiest case. The other case is called data center interconnect. Data center interconnect addresses the typical scenario we'll have in a third-party environment. Well, we've got a data center with vendor A, we've got another data center with vendor B, and then there is kind of a legacy vendor C for the third data center, and you need to provide layer 2 mobility somehow. How do you make sure Arista, Huawei, and Juniper is going to work together? Or you want to add Cisco to the equation? Well, yes, EVPN is a technology you could use, but you don't have that kind of flexibility. Very simple way to do this with Pluribus Networks. You'll just use our fabric approach. You'll add 2 switches in each site, you'll interconnect them to a single fabric, and you will get a layer 2 mobility extension across all of these geographical sites, providing you the security, visibility, and segmentation I've been talking about. So that is obviously a big advantage, that we've got this architectural flexibility going along. 2 modes: pod interconnect, multi-site interconnect, or data center interconnect as a way of operating Pluribus in a fabric. And I mentioned before that our goal is to make networking simpler. Our goal is to leverage a lot of automation and integration. And this simplicity is done via REST APIs, which we are able to run. So we are able to basically use, and we are integrating into vCenter, into OpenStack. Our Unum runs on REST APIs. We've got a lot of already pre-provisioned automation tools, which we are able to demonstrate and show you. And this is kind of the example I wanted to give you. How simple is a Pluribus Fabric overlay? So just provisioning a layer 3 VPN across 32 nodes in a fabric with kind of some of the incumbents like Cisco, Arista, and Cumulus. It would be like a box-to-box configuration, very complex. Now, nobody in the world is going to do this manually anymore, right? Everybody would use some automation tools. With Pluribus, it's super simple. 2 lines of code. 2 lines of code, and you'll see kind of the CLI setup. 2 lines of code, which is giving us the capability of making it super simple and achieving the same setup and the same configuration hazards you'll see on the legacy environments. On a Pluribus fabric, it is really made super simple. Hey, Manuel, why don't you want to run the first little demo we've planned in order to show that simplicity? Let's kick it off here.
Absolutely. So I'm going to connect to one of our fabrics, okay? And on this first demo, I would like to give our attendees some hints about our built-in automation and the flexibility of our CLI. So I'm connected right now to one of our fabrics, okay? As Andreas was mentioning before, all the nodes that are part of our fabric are seen as a single logical entity, right? So it means that we can connect to any of those nodes, and we can manage the whole fabric from whichever node, right? So for example, on this one, I just connected to one fabric, which is made up of 9 different nodes, okay? You can see them. You can see them here. You can see their IP addresses. You can see their state. They are all of them online, okay? And to give you some hints about our automation, our flexibility of our CLI, imagine that we want to check, for example, the configuration of the port 1 on every single device, right? So with this simple CLI command, port config show port 1, this will show us every single parameter that has been configured for the port number 1 on each switch, which is part of the fabric, okay? Here you can see this is the leaf 1. And these are all the parameters and how they have been configured. As you can see, maybe this can be, there is a lot of information, so maybe it can be a little bit difficult to read all the parameters, right? But our CLI allows us to specify what exactly we want to see, right? For example, I can tell the CLI, hey, show me only these parameters, the switch, the port number, the speed, if it has been configured for Jumbo, auto negotiation, enable, LSCP mode, and this will show us all these parameters, these specific parameters for the port 1 for every single switch that is part of the fabric. Also, if, for example, I'm interested on checking, for example, the port number 1 and port number 3 for only 2 specific devices, let's say switch number 3 and switch number 4, I can just, with one single command, do this. And here, all this specific information, only those parameters related to only those 2 specific ports and only those 2 specific devices is being shown, right? For example, we can also say, hey, I want to see all the parameters, but in a much more, we can say, friendly way. So, for example, I want to see how the switch, specifically only the switch number 2, how the port 1 has been configured. I want to see all the parameters, but we can instruct the CLI to do it in a more friendly way. We can tell it to show the output on a vertical layout, right? So this way, it is much easier to for us to see how this port has been configured. Okay, let's move now to the VLANs. As we said, as all the devices are part of one single entity called the fabric, we can very easily, for example, tell the CLI, hey, tell me all the VLANs that have been provisioned in all the switches. So with one single command, VLAN show, it is showing us for each switch all the VLANs that have been configured. We can see, for example, here, from the switch leaf 1 to leaf 9, it has been provisioned the VLAN 1, also the VLAN 10, also VLAN 11, and so on, okay? Now, the same as we did before with the port configuration, we can restrict the output. Let's, for example, say that we want to check specifically some parameters like the switch, the VLAN identifier, the VXLAN, if it has been provisioned fabric-wide or locally, okay, the description. So we can specify the parameters that we want to see. And here we go. We have all the switches, but the information now is restricted to only the parameters that we are interested to check, to verify, okay? Now, for example, if I just want to check on the leaf number 5, which VLANs have been provisioned on that one, with one simple command, we can do it. As you can see here, all these VLANs have been provisioned on the leaf 5. As you can see, I'm not connected directly to that leaf. I'm right now connected to the leaf number 1, but it doesn't matter. As Andreas was mentioning before, we can manage, we can configure our fabric from any node that is part of that one, is part of the fabric, okay? Now let me give you some example about how easy it is to provision fabric-wide one VLAN, what will be the equivalent to a layer 2 VPN service, okay? So with one simple command, VLAN create, ID 240, we specify the VLAN, then we say we want to create it fabric-wide, so we scope fabric, we assign a VXLAN identifier, so VXLAN 1240, ports none, as right now I don't want to assign any port to that specific VLAN. We provide some description, so demo VLAN 240, and we use the parameter auto VXLAN so that this VNI will be mapped to every single VTEP, okay? Now we can do a VLAN show ID 240, and as you can see, this VLAN has been already provisioned in all the switches in the fabric. It doesn't matter where those devices are physically located. Okay. Now for the last example, I'm going to create the equivalent to a layer 3 VPN. So I will create a subnet which will be stretched across all the devices in the fabric. So first I create a BRF, for example, the BRF demo1, and now we are going to create the subnet which is distributed across all the switches. It is as simple as doing subnet create, again the scope which is fabric, we give a name to the subnet, we specify the VXLAN identifier that we want to use, we specify the network, for example, this one is a 192.168.240.0/24. We specify the BRF where we want this subnet to belong to, and then we specify the Anycast gateway parameter, okay? With one simple command, it has been created. Let us check. So subnet show, name subnet 240, and there it is. As you can see, the subnet has been provisioned in all the switches that are part of our fabric. And just to give you one last example, we were mentioning before, or Andreas was mentioning before, our fabric is highly reliable. With this command, with transaction show, you will see we are keeping track of every single command that we have executed in our fabric. For example, as you can see, with this last command, we created the subnet, but it is also telling us which command we should apply in case we want to undo that configuration, okay? So you can see here, the last command was to create the subnet, the previous command was to create the BRF, and the previous one was to create the VLAN 240. Okay, this is everything that I wanted to show you on this demonstration. Andreas, back to you. Thank you.
Manuel, thanks for the demo. And I saw some of the questions, which we'll basically touch at the end as well, a bit about the distributed controller. I think the notion you saw is what is most important for us. The fabric is a single entity, and now what we can do is we can segment the fabric to make multiple tenants use the same physical setup at the same time, using their own orchestration tools. One might use Unum, the other might use REST API, the next one might use Ansible or OpenStack integration. We don't care. So for providing multi-tenant services and making sure that we are giving that service granularity, our multi-tenancy capability is super applicable. On the next slide, we basically show you the beauty about what are we delivering with our Unum capabilities. Unum is, and Insight Analytics is providing you real-time statistics. And it's not just interface counters. It's not just net flow, S-flow data. It's real-time flow data, like as if you would have a probe on every port. So we're basically taking that data, we're sending it to our Insight Analytics module, providing you an end-to-end real-time visibility without any other appliances needed. So you can use this obviously for orchestration. You can use it for troubleshooting. Most important, because hey, what happens if a denial of service attack happens? So any security sprawls we are able to detect with it. We're able to use it for capacity planning as well. And this is where Insight Analytics, built in the networking operating system, runs so smooth. On the next slide, I'll give you a short overview on the management capabilities. Unum is kind of split in the two components: the monitoring and analytics, where you have a typical look and feel, device and fabric manager, a health dashboard. You know, if something is red, not good. If it's green, yes, we're good to go. We provide zero-touch provisioning, so you unpack your edge core switches, put them in the fabric. You have it all pre-configured in Unum. ZTP is available as today, and then Unum delivers some base analytics capabilities via SNMP and device statistics. On the right-hand side, the blue side, is the management and automation via Insight Analytics. This is where the whole intelligence is. This is where IA kicks in. This is where you get the flow dependencies, where you can troubleshoot, you can deep dive in. You can set alertings, you can set reportings. So you'll basically say, hey, something is happening. I want to get an alert in it. And this is where basically the on top data is being used. Manuel, why don't we show this in our next demo?
So this is Unum, as Andreas was saying. This is our management and monitoring tool. So Unum is able to manage several fabrics. Here on the left, we can see how Unum, on this case, is managing two different fabrics: the front one and the left one. Okay. On the topology dashboard, we can see all our fabric. On this case, this one is made up of 9 different leaves. Okay. And actually, these devices are on 2 different data centers, okay? Some of them are in one data center, and some of the others are on a different one. The gray icons that you see on the top, those are the spine devices, and those are on a gray color because they are running a different operating system. I mean, the spines do not need to run our own operating system. They just need to provide IP connectivity to the leaf devices. And then below, there are also some gray devices, which are some servers and some other hosts, okay? So from the topology dashboard, we can have access to several information, such as the IPs, the status of every device, if their CPUs and memories are okay. We can also check the hardware models, the licenses that have been configured on those devices, the list of transceivers that have been applied, and so on. Then, if we move to the Fabric Health dashboard, here we can see also a lot of useful information. There are several widgets. For example, here on the top left widget, it is showing us the percentage of memory being used by each switch at this moment. Okay, the inner segments represent one switch that is part of that fabric. Okay, and the outer segment represents the percentage of memory being utilized on this moment by that switch. Also, on the top right icon, you can see the same information, but this time related to the CPU utilization. Okay, on the same screen we have access to several other information. For example, if there has been raised any warning or error or any traps, the number of CLI commands that have been recently used in the fabric, the number of active endpoints, VLANs, VRF, and so on, and also very important, the VXLAN tunnel. Okay, in case there will be some problem with some VXLAN tunnel, it will be very easy for us to detect it here. Then it is providing also some other information. For example, the links with the highest percentage of bandwidth utilization. Okay, if there are any errors or congestion drops on any interface in our fabric, and some other information related to the hardware capabilities. For example, the IPv4 routes hardware table, or the vFlow hardware table. Now, if we quickly move to the Insight Analytics part, as Andreas was mentioning, the Insight Analytics module is gathering all the information, all the TCP flows that have traversed our network within the last 30 days. Here we can choose the time frame that for the information that we want to be shown. Okay, let me check the last 30 days. Okay, but maybe this fabric, as it is a demo fabric, it does not show a pretty high number of connections. Let me just move to the other fabric, the front one. Let's let it load. Okay, as you can see here, within the last 30 days, there have been around 75,000 TCP connections that have traversed the fabric. On this screen, we have again presented a lot of information. For example, on this widget, we have the top layer 4 services by connection. Everything here is clickable. So for example, I click on HTTP, and then this will drill down the information to that specific parameter. Let it load. Okay, so we can see, for example, from the total 70,000 connections, around almost 44,000 connections were HTTP connections. Okay, we can see also which are the top clients that produce that TCP traffic, the top servers, and then some other information like the state of the connections, the switches that carried the biggest amount of the TCP flows, and for example the latency. Okay, which are the servers with the highest latency in the network. Then, as we were mentioning, the Insight Analytics module is gathering all the TCP flows, not only some samples, but all the TCP flows that have traversed the network, and all those flows are specified here. Okay, we can open any of those, and there is a lot of information provided for each specific flow. As we can see, this was an HTTP flow, of course. The destination IP was this one. The latency was this, almost around 4,000. This is in nanoseconds, I think. And then we have other information like the source IP, the switch port, the switch port, the switch destination out port, the VLAN, and so on. Now let me very quickly show you from the manager menu. We can configure and manage every single aspect of the fabric. For example, with the fabric menu, we can manage everything related to global settings. We can trigger backups. We can restore switch, upgrade the fabric, check the notifications, and so on. On the layer 1 menu, we can manage everything related to the ports, check the status, and manage all the ports. Okay. Then on the layer 2 menu, we can manage everything related to VLANs, BLE, manage LDP, IGMP, LACP, STP, everything related to layer 2. Okay. The same with the layer 3. We can configure everything related to protocols, routing protocols, OSPF, BGP, the VXLAN, the layer 3 overlay, and also EVPN. And then from the security and monitoring, we can check the logs, configure and manage SFlow, SNMP, and so on. And with the services, we can, for example, manage and configure everything related to fabric-wide settings, as well as the quality of service. Let me very quickly show you the same as I did before with the CLI. Let me show you how we would create a VLAN that will be stretched across all the fabric. So I will go, for example, to the leaves fabric, the same one that I was using before for my demo. We just need to click on create a VLAN by ID, select the switch, on this case all, as we want it to be a fabric-wide VLAN. Select the ID, for example, 250, the scope, this will be fabric, give some description, demo VLAN 250. Ports known, by now I don't want to assign this VLAN to any port, and then we just need to click on the parameter auto VXLAN and choose the VXLAN, okay? For example, we are going to use the VXLAN 1250. If we want, we can leave this field empty and the system will assign one auto VXLAN number. Then we just need to click on save, and the VLAN has been created. Let me look for that VLAN here, and as you can see, the VLAN with the ID 250 has been provisioned on every single leaf which is part of the fabric. Now, if we wanted to assign ports to that VLAN, we just need to go to VLAN port, select the leaf where the switch where we want to apply, select here the VLAN, for example, demo VLAN 250, click on add a port to a VLAN, then here select which port we want to apply to that VLAN, click on apply and click save. And that would be everything that we need to do to create a new VLAN fabric-wide and have it stretch across all the switches, okay?
Super.
Thank you, Andy. Back to you.
Hey, thank you. You know, and I think what is super important is making networking simpler. You know, addressing the cloud needs of our customers. Yes, absolutely. I mean, for the technical geeks, you can run it on the CLI, but Unum is a super tool to kind of make it make orchestration even easier. Hey, I'm gonna share the materials again. Most likely, I don't see it, but there's only one more slide.
We can see it. All
you
good.
can see it. Perfect. And this is kind of my summary slide, and we're going to come to the questions in a minute. It's all around simplicity. It's all around using SDN and automation. This is what Pluribus is for. And together with STORDIS, we are the open networking innovators. We want to be seen as the ones who basically drive this innovation around SDN into the cloud era. We scaled tremendously. And there was one question which was asking, how do you do this with a controller-less functionality if you kind of spread over so many switches? Well, first of all, we're super efficient. Okay. First of all, we've got a peer-to-peer network. All our switches are talking to each other. Every switch at every time knows the state of the other node, or every node knows the state of the other node. So it's a very efficient way we are using our communication. And we'll have to say, and I mentioned that at the beginning, we work very closely together with Broadcom. We're using the Broadcom ASICs at its best. So we're making sure a lot is uploaded into the ASIC, and obviously you need some memory going along with the switches. But modern Trident 2, Trident 3, Maverick switches, Trident 4 switches, Tomahawk switches, they are all super capable of running Pluribus on. Another question I saw on the chat was around, hey, is it running on any switch out there? No, unfortunately not. I mean, ONI is the base, right? You need to run ONI on your switch, so you need to be open networking capable. But yes, there is a hardware compatible list. I think that was what all the question is about. For our main vendors, we can provide you all the devices. Hey, we're always onboarding. Currently, we're onboarding the 400 gig switches from both Dell and EdgeCore. So we're very aggressive in driving these high-speed networking together with our partners. And if you want to have a list here, Manuel, myself, we're able to kind of deliver it to you. Scalable, we're super scalable. Our fabric scale up to it's a theoretical number, 1,024 nodes. We've got a super concept of building pods and interconnecting the fabrics, and we're using our own technology as well as EVPN. I think that was yet another question. The whole economics idea is around, or the whole disaggregated idea is around providing better economics. So this is where our DNA and STORDIS DNA comes together. We're able to kind of provide you with the operating system, and STORDIS is able to provide you with the hardware. And I had a question at the beginning. I said, hey, where do we differ from Cumulus, PK8, Big Switch? Honestly, these are all players in the open networking ecosystem. Pika 8 is more on the campus side. Cumulus actually is not supported on Broadcom. Cumulus left the open networking initiative. But as I showed you, our approach, Linux-based, DevOps targeted, is very similar. Now, the big difference between us and Cumulus is we've got that built-in programmability and fully automated fabric, which Cumulus doesn't have. Cumulus can only derive this via scripting. Parties like Big Switch being acquired by Arista, they are on the controller side. We don't need a controller. So, while we all play in the same market, obviously the differences, the nuances are in the details. So we provide that economics, and we've got that scale-out architecture. Lucas, are there any other questions I might have missed? I was trying to kind of read through the questions while I was talking. Maybe one of you got 2 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I was making also some notes. So we receive a lot of questions. I believe that we will be not able to answer all of that, having respecting the time. But also a few was provided publicly and privately. So I don't know why guys you've been sending some private questions as well. So someone was asking if I want to test your solution in my demo lab. Do you have not for sale licenses, or how do I get one?
Absolutely. I think work with Lucas, work with us, right? We're able to give you NFR licenses. Super question. Absolutely. I think we're a technology company, and we would love to support you. And you need to have that look and feel. Manuel and our other SE team, we're happy to support you on it. But running it in your own environment, making your own experience is vital for us, and we're absolutely happy to support you there.
Yeah, and I can also add from our end that if let's say loan the hardware to lift to spines, or provide a remote access to our lab, or put it into the mobile rack, this is also not a problem, and this is what we will be really happy to support if someone will really like to put the hands on. Next one, very quickly, there was a question. So if your solution fixed to a central topology, for example, a leaf or spine, if your solution fixed to a central topology, leaf spine, like a closed one?
No, well, I think I mentioned that one. No, we're supporting multiple topologies. Spine leaf architectures are the most common ones, but whatever is a mesh, full mesh ring, as long as we have IP connectivity between our devices, as long as our devices, we can build up a tunnel, a excellent tunnel between us, we're fine to go.
Okay, thank you. And I see also that there is one. So are those interoperating multi-vendors APIs already fully available? Is that something that you can also try to address? Maybe you, Andy, or Manuel?
Yeah, oh, you mean the REST APIs? Well, absolutely. We are. So yes, I'm not sure if I understood the question, Lucas. I think it's about accessing the fabric via APIs, REST APIs. Absolutely. We are fully open. We've got playbooks running, scripting playbooks running. So we are basically the programmability company. So we're able to interconnect and interoperate with the standard automation tools out there.
Thank you. So maybe the last one. So someone was asking how the local support is looking in a practice. So let's assume that we have a software issue, hardware issue. Where to call?
I think the easiest is we as a partner. We can team up. We are 100%. Our tech, our support organization is fully capable of diagnosing whether it's a hardware or a software issue. So we'd always advise call Pluribus first, make sure that we are going to be made in charge. If it happens to be a hardware partner, we would relay it to one of our hardware vendors, together with you, Lucas, and STORDIS. So, but we've got the experience, we've got the skill in our company to make that call.
Absolutely, and there is also like a Zendesk integration. So if that is something very obviously like a hardware issue, let's say power supply fans, then it just depends on the SLA which we are running. Yeah, it could be next business day, same day delivery, yeah, to fix it. But definitely there is no any point fingers. So maybe just let me choose the last one. So someone, Martin was asking about your technology. If someone would like to learn more about your technology, so is there a place where someone could watch the videos, webinars, or even get like a live training?
So actually, this is a good one because yes, absolutely, we've got a good repository of video presentations, and I'm happy to share that with you. But we'll always invite you. Actually, there are two ways to do this. We're running regular boot camps, technology boot camps, where you can sign up free of charge, and we're always going to pick a topic and we'll deep dive and we'll show you. It's always in combination with a demo. So we're not talking PowerPoint slides, we're talking real stuff. But more important is, if you're interested, we'll kindly ask you, reach out to Łukasz and me, because we would be happy to do some dedicated, targeted demos and training enablement for you as being STORDIS partners and customers. So for us, it's super important to have that direct touch. So if you think, hey, this was interesting, absolutely, we would like to do something targeted for you. And we've got these demos, and then watch out on our website. We've got the video and the in our repository as well.
Maybe the last one from George. Can you touch, but very quickly, about the commercial model? It is the license per switch, perpetual or annual?
It is. Our licenses are all perpetual, and then on top we add the support capabilities. 1, 3, 5 years. We can go up to 9 years. We're flexible. We listen to our customers. We have different support models in it, but our licenses are perpetual. Absolutely, Łukasz.
Okay, guys. So there are still a few questions, but let's maybe. Yes, exactly. So once again, Andy, Manuel, really thank you. Also, thank you to all of our hosts who've been able to go over that 1 hour together with us fully live. If someone would like to reach out to us, feel free. There is a full contact details of Andreas. Also, my one are shown there. We're really looking forward. There, I see that there is still like a few answers, but everything we will collect and just get back to you guys individual. So once again, thank you for watching. Thank you for staying. Sorry also for a small technical issue, but it is as it is, like always when you are going live. And gentlemen, have a great evening. Once again, appreciate.
Take care. Thanks, Łukasz. Thanks for inviting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.